We are live, senators.
All right, good morning. This is Senate Health and Welfare. It's March 16th, and we are continuing to hear about S25. And we have witnesses with us this morning. Thank you for being with us on Zoom. But both of you are here, and I also see Kelsey, you're here as well. What we'll do is hear from our witnesses, and then we'll move on to the next folks on the list. Before we do that, I'm going to have committee members introduce themselves so that those of you on Zoom know who we are, remember who we are. So I'm Senator Ginny Lyons. I chair the committee from Chittenden Southeast, and welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dave Weeks, representing Rutland County.
Morning, Ruth Hardy from Addison District.
Morning, Terry Williams from Rutland County.
And Senator Martine Gulick will be in. She's from Chittenden Central. This is crossover week, so everyone is preoccupied with everything. But mostly we're interested in what you have to say about S25. We're going to start with, is it Malika or Malika?
Yes.
All right, Walton, why don't you introduce yourself for the record, and then we'll hear your testimony.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Kay Malika Walton, and I am here today as the Director of Operations for the Center for Baby and Adult Hygiene Products, or known as BAHP. So good morning, Chair Lyons and committee members, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today to represent our member companies. My comments are also outlined in the letter that we submitted to the committee earlier this week, and we believe have been uploaded to the committee website. For some background, BHP represents more than 90% of the personal absorbent hygiene products industry in North America, which includes both disposable and reusable products, ranging from diapers and adult incontinence to menstrual and personal hygiene products. As the only US-based organization dedicated to the personal absorbent hygiene sector, BHP serves as a trusted voice in the industry. We advocate for improving and expanding the product information available to our consumers, namely through our two educational websites, diaperanswers.org and femcareanswers.org. With a strong commitment to sustainability and safety, we support the responsible manufacture, use, and disposal of our products. So our member companies take compliance responsibilities seriously and are committed to ensuring that all absorbent hygiene products undergo thorough safety assessments. BHP supports strong science-based chemical regulations that protect human health and the environment, and as such, we share in your goal of ensuring the health and safety of the residents of Vermont. So our objective is to ensure that this is done in a way that provides accurate, consistent, and clear information to both the public and to manufacturers. With that, I'll turn to some of our recommendations for amended language to this bill to meet the objectives of your committee and also BHP's members. First, we are in alignment with some of yesterday's witnesses who spoke to the need to clarify the definition of intentionally added. So we recommended amendments to clarify that intentionally added for both the cosmetics and the menstrual products is defined as a substance that serves as a technical or functional purpose in the finished cosmetic or menstrual product. And also, as part of our goal of improving clarity, we recommended that the bill's definition of the term menstrual product be amended to refer to any product manufactured for the collection of vaginal discharge, with a focus on the word manufacture rather than the proposed language of used. We also suggested minor changes in product identification just for consistency purposes across the industry. And those are outlined in the letter to the committee. Lastly, in our letter, we address the provision in S25 that the Attorney General requests compliance certification from textile manufacturers. For background, some of our members' reusable menstrual products can be considered textiles in some regulatory context. And as a general matter, our membership would like to gain a better understanding through further dialogue on how to achieve the intended consumer benefit from the compliance certification without creating regulatory burdens. We did suggest some language in our letter that slightly adjusted the language proposed in the legislation to stipulate that manufacturers may rely on existing certificates of compliance from their suppliers in demonstrating their own compliance. And we're welcome to further dialogue on this issue. We're open to that, rather. So with those comments, I'd like to thank the committee for taking some time to listen to the perspective of VHP on this legislation. And we welcome continued dialogue and coordination as the bill advances.
Thank you very much. Your suggestions are very helpful, and in fact, our based on testimony that we heard yesterday, our Ledge Council has been working together with others to bring us a new draft. So I think some of these suggestions were included, and others we'll look at. So thank you. Committee questions? Good. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Succinct and to the point, and we appreciate that.
And we appreciate your time and your consideration. Have a great day.
All right, so we'll move to Scott Schlegel. So welcome, and we know we're not used to having motorcycles in our room. They're usually down the hall in transportation, but we're happy to have you here. And I did get a note from you, so we're glad to put you on the agenda and hear your testimony.
Great. Well, truly appreciate that, Senator Chair Lyons and fellow committee members. My name's Scott Schlegel, and I'm thoroughly impressed, Senator, that you're able to pronounce that properly too. Most people butcher that name. So you either took German or you got lucky this morning. So
That's more like it. A little bit of German here. No.
Good. Well, thank you again for the opportunity to address you on this important legislation this morning. My name's Scott Schlegel. I'm the Senior Vice President of Government Relations for the Motorcycle Industry Council, known as MIC, the Specialty Off-Highway Vehicle Association, or Institute of America, rather, SVIA, and the Recreational Off-Highway Vehicle Association, known as ROVA. MIC, SVIA, and ROVA are organizations representing hundreds of manufacturers, dealers, distributors, and of motorcycles, ATVs, and ROVs, which are sometimes referred to as side-by-sides. You see a lot of those up in Vermont, I'm sure. As well as aftermarket products, which include personal protective textile items, such as riding jackets, pants, gloves, and other gear containing textiles. We strongly urge that SB 25 be amended to specifically exclude protective clothing and equipment used when operating a motorcycle or off-highway vehicle from the textile ban that would go into effect July 1st of 2026. In the absence of those amendments, our associations are opposed to the bill. So our member companies certainly understand the desire to shift away from PFAS in textiles, and we're working diligently to find some suitable alternatives that will provide similar protection for our riding gear. As the bill recognizes through its exclusion of personal protective equipment from the textile definition, there are some uses where it may be dangerous to individuals not to have the protections that PFAS currently provides in certain instances. We need to ensure that our riding gear is included in that definition of personal protective equipment. Before we shift our sourcing and manufacturing, we must ensure that safety gear meets durability standards and that sufficient sufficient to protect riders. Any potential PFAS alternatives must meet durability and safe operation standards that meet or exceed the current quality in order to be deemed suitable replacements. This takes considerable resources and time that are just not provided in SB 25. And due to the volume of products requiring testing, manufacturers are not confident that they could comply with the current requirements in the legislation. We urge the bill be amended to specifically exclude protective clothing and equipment when used when operating motorcycles or off-highway vehicles. You should have our letter, our testimony on this. And in there, what we suggest, thank you, what we suggest is the addition of a simple clause that would, in the exclusions where it says does not include protective, personal protective equipment, we would add in or equipment and protective apparel used for safe operation of a motorcycle or off-highway vehicle. As I mentioned, our members companies are searching, they're working hard to find suitable alternatives for PFAS in their products, but currently PFAS is just unavoidable use in some of the safety and equipment that we have for our products. And we would hope that Vermont would allow manufacturers sufficient time to find replacements that are not that would not subject consumers to a risk of harm in resulting from the unavailability of those products. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question for you. We did hear from folks yesterday regarding the manufacturer of textiles that would be without PFAS, and a request that I think sounds very reasonable is to put the date out to 2028 to give time for manufacturers to identify alternatives. And I don't know whether your organizations have worked with those folks or looked at what California has done. I think their date is 2028.
Yes, we certainly have weighed in with California on that issue prior to legislation being approved there. 2028 is much more desirable than 2026. And as I said, our manufacturers are working hard to achieve that. But given the fact that you do give carve-outs in there for personal protective equipment, for organizations such as firefighters or others that have similar gear, it really is with jackets and gloves. It's both a waterproofing and sweat wicking issue with PFAS, but it's also a durability issue. So when you go down, if you lay your bike down and you end up going across the pavement, you want to have as protective of a coating on that glove, the jackets, the pants, the boots as possible. So 2028 would be more desirable than 2026, but not. I can't tell you right now that our industry absolutely could meet that date as well.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. We have other questions? Senator Hardy has a question.
Thank you. I'm curious, PFAS is a relatively new class of chemicals. What was used prior to PFAS in your industry?
Well, PFAS has been around for quite a while, actually. And so it has been, I think, in our products for a long time. And our products also may not have been as safe prior to that as they are with it. And we are, as I said, we are working diligently to try to find alternatives that will be as protective as what they have in PFAS. I think that will come at some point in the next few years. I just don't, our industry, when I've asked them, what is that date for textiles, they haven't yet been able to say, based on the fact that it's not just Vermont who's doing this. We have other states, as you noted, California, that Jared noted it's in California. There are other states and other countries, quite honestly, who are also moving in the same direction, right? So we're hopeful that it'll happen sooner rather than later, but the gear may not have been as protective before as it is now. I don't have an answer for you as to that durability question.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So is Jamie McConnell?
She is not with us yet. I just sent her an email.
Okay,
I'm reaching out to the other witnesses to see if they
Okay.
might be able to.
I think that we are going to finish the testimony this morning or but that's okay. We have other things we can do. This is from our team. Why don't